How's everything been going? How's your week?
Everything is going great. My life's good. My health is good. I'm actually thinking about ending the session soon.
Okay. Wow. Didn't see that coming. Okay. Let's talk about that time your uncle molested you in the 2nd grade. Let's talk about that. Okay, so I think we had a good session today. I guess I'll see you next week. Yeah, Doc. I don't know what I'd do without you. I'll see you every week, forever.
I don't think that all therapists are evil. In fact, probably none of them are evil. However, there is a reason for why I wanted to make this video. And that reason is really just to show that therapy is not the only solution for every single problem. And I think that too quickly in society, we jump to therapy as the only option without exploring other alternatives. And I do think that in a lot of ways, some people really fetishize their therapist. You know, they think that their therapist is like the end all be all. Oh my God, I have to run this by my therapist. Oh, I can't wait to talk to my therapist. And I think that sometimes we have to just remember that for your therapist, it's a job for them. Just like your job or my job, you're mostly more invested into them than they are of you. And they're just trying to get home and feed their family and see their kids. And I think that too often we forget that, and we just think that their word is everything. And I really do think that as a society, we should explore alternatives to therapy. For example, I know that I've personally got into meditation, and I do think that there is something to be said about just burying feelings. I don't think that therapy is healthy when every single week maybe you're talking about the worst thing that ever happened to you in your life. So in the example of this video, the worst thing that ever happened to this character was that his uncle molested him in the 2nd grade, right? And so it's sort of like his therapist got him through that. And then when the kid was ready to move on, the therapist is like, oh, let's revisit that. And that's sort of me kind of knocking the fact that it is their job. Maybe the therapist didn't want to lose them as a client, and they kind of knew that all they had to do was say that, and this person would kind of like come back. Because I do wonder, what is the therapist's goal? Therapy is an industry like many other industries. The goal of a therapist is to treat you. It is not to cure you. If therapists cured you, if they fixed all of your mental issues, there wouldn't be therapy anymore. With physical therapy, for example, I hurt my shoulder, let's say. Then I go to physical therapy for like 6 weeks, 3 months, and then my shoulder's fixed and I move on. It doesn't seem like therapists operate that same way. It seems like you have these mental issues and the therapist it's just week after week for an entire lifetime. And I see normal people doing a lifetime of therapy, and I just don't know if that's healthy. And I will say this a million times. In the pharmaceutical industry and anything that has to do with medicine, there is more money in the treatment than in the cure. So it is the job of the therapist to treat you, not to cure you. Think about this, right? There is an entire business of therapy that just keeps this business of therapy going. And how come nobody really talks about the alternatives to therapy? I will tell you why. Because there is no money in telling people to meditate. There is no money in telling people to bury their issues. Think about this, for example. If all of a sudden, and this is just a total hypothetical, right? Let's say the cure for a cold was to just get sunlight. Crazy example, right? You get a cold, all you have to do is sit in the sun for like 12 hours. There is nobody that is going to fund a study that shows sitting in the sunlight cures a cold. Why is that? Because you cannot profit on the sun. Businesses can't profit on the sun. So of course there are no studies. And I feel like that's the same for therapy. There are studies and studies and studies and studies to show how good and effective therapy is at healing you. However, there's no studies to say the opposite. Why? Because there is no money in the opposite of therapy. So we just have this society that just runs on therapy and theory. Oh, I gotta see my therapist. Everyone is just a drone listening to these therapists, and who the heck are they? Doesn't seem like the therapists are actually even helping anyone, which is even more insane than anything. Like, they actually don't help. Like, if you have to go to a therapist week after week, they're not helping you. They're just bringing up the same shitty issues that got you there in the first place. And I would implore anyone to just try meditation or try yoga or anything else. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of absolutely great reasons to see a therapist if you're suicidal or something really bad did just happen to you. But I think that therapy should be temporary. I mean, you should go if you're having terrible feelings, go for a couple weeks and then move on from it. Like, don't get into these habits of seeing the therapist over and over. And then I want to say once again, I genuinely don't think therapists are evil. I think that this is what they've been trained to do since med school or whatever school they took. They're trained a certain way, and they're really not trained to cure you of your issues. They're trained to treat you. So maybe some things in life are just better to bury. I mean, I know the worst things that have ever happened in my life. Thank God they are not that bad. But honestly, every time I think about them, I don't feel good. So I've just sort of learned to bury them, and that's worked for me. And I just think that that might be a technique that is worth exploring just a little more than going to therapy over and over and over. So at the end of the day, this video is really aimed at people that make going to therapy part of their identity. There is like this weird class of people that do that. And trust me, there are absolutely great reasons to see a therapist. So don't think that just because you watch this video that you shouldn't see a therapist. I think that there's different cures and treatments for everyone. And I just wanted to make this video to offer an alternative view to going to therapy because I really don't see too many alternative views out there. So thank you so much for watching. If you have anything to say, feel free to write it in the comments. If not, be sure to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, at Mike Gorman. Thanks for watching. Peace.